Single 40 podcast. Let's go. Here with Glenn, obviously, and today we got a very special guest, Chad from Chubs DubC.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
So a little background on Single at 40 and Mr. Chad from Chubs DubC. He's one of the first vloggers I met here. We just started our channel. I think we had 50 subs at the time. It was a year ago.
Yes.
And you were super cool, gave me a bunch of advice, and then gave us a shout out on your channel, which was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So appreciate that.
Right here at the hot spot in front of the Carousel bar.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're at the Carousel Hotel. I forgot to add that in. Yep. So excited to get to know Chad a little bit better and talk. So welcome and thanks for coming on and thanks for always supporting us.
Absolutely. I like your channel. I like what you're doing. I like your editing. You guys are doing a good job. So.
That's all Glenn. He's the technical one. I'm just the one with the big mouth.
Glenn's got it going on.
I try. No.
So your background, where born and raised, where are you from?
Minnesota. Grew up in Minnesota. I had a divorce when I was about 8-9 years old. So the family split. I stayed with my mother for a year or so, and then ended up going with my father, who lived on the lake because it was a lot more fun, a lot more toys, all that good stuff.
For sure.
Graduated in a small town of Annandale, Minnesota, population 2,000 people, and then went to University of Minnesota Duluth and graduated college. After the college, I hooked up with Best Buy, big box electronics store. Worked at retail for about 10 years, and I couldn't handle the retail. So after that, I got into the trades, went back into the trades for a while.
Nice. So the Philippines.
Yeah.
When was the first time? Tell me a story on how you ever got to come into the Philippines.
Yeah, the Philippines. It was before the pandemic, to be honest. I started thinking, what am I going to do when I turn 65? Where am I going to go? It's going to be about 10, 12 years, 13 years away now. So let's plan ahead. Let's figure this out. So I started thinking, what would I like to do? Where would I like to be? I'd like to be somewhere tropical. I like to be somewhere out of the cold because I grew up in Minnesota, and the older you get, the less you play in the snow and the cold. It's more of a waste of time, I always say. So I started checking out where I'd like to go. Mexico, Colombia, the Philippines, Thailand, Turkey. There was a bunch of different places that I had considered. And when you consider something like that, you got to look at it all. English speaking was huge. I'm not the best. I don't pick up other languages very quickly.
I don't think anyone does.
So, I even tried to pick up Tagalog before I came here for several months, and I got pretty good at it, but I needed to be into the setting before I would really, make it work for me, and now I've lost it all. But that was one of the criteria, was English and the weather and stuff. So I started watching YouTube and checking out things like Walking Street caught my attention. There's something about Walking Street and Filipinas, Asian women I've always been attracted to. So that's
Can't go wrong there.
Right.
For sure.
So that's where I found the Philippines here.
Interesting. So you didn't know much about it, and it was just all through your own personal research and trying to figure out where you wanted to essentially retire. Yeah.
I had never been out of Minnesota other than to Mexico one time on a spring break with a friend, and that was like in high school. So I hate flying. What else was I going to say?
I'm going to assume you're not 65 yet.
No. I retired at 52.
Okay.
So through my research for a couple of years, pandemic helped. I determined that Philippines is where I want to go. And after watching several vloggers here for a couple of years, I decided, if I sell everything, I can make this work now. I don't have to wait till I'm 65. I had a cousin who died. She was 58 years old from cancer very quickly. I had an injury at work, which was another eye-opener for me. So I decided, I love videography. I've always had a camera in my hand. I got to do this now. I don't want to look back in 10 years and say, I wished I would have. So I just pulled the trigger.
I love that thinking. I love that mindset.
Yeah.
And that's something like we try to promote on our channel, and our mission statement is like, you only live once.
You only live once.
Get outside the box, get outside your comfort zone, do what you should be doing, not, what you have to be doing, so that's awesome to hear. So how old were you when you actually made the move?
52.
52.
I was, there was a class reunion, what would that be, a 35th class reunion, I want to say? Does that sound right? I was working up to. I had already sold my house. I was living there for several months free. Worked a deal with who bought it from me. That I'm going to stay here. I'm going to jack my money, savings, and everything. She was cool with it. I knew I wanted to leave probably October or the end of the year. I ended up leaving early September. Pulled the trigger, like I said, and I just got so excited. And I sold everything really fast. You know, when you make that decision, you still have to unload all your stuff.
Yeah, right.
And when friends know that you're unloading your stuff, they come out of the woodwork.
Everybody wants a deal, right?
Yeah, and you think your stuff is more valuable than it is. I ended up getting rid of a lot of stuff very cheaply. Like my vehicles, my Jeep went to a friend. I didn't care about the amount of money because I knew that he would take care of it, and I'd see it in some of his social media.
He'd appreciate it, yeah.
Yeah, so,
So
52 years old, I went to a class reunion that day, and I retired from work the day before. So I went to the class reunion and said, hey, you know what? I retired. And they're all looking at me like, what are you talking about? And then I unloaded that I'm moving to the Philippines here in a few months as well.
And then everyone thought you were even crazy.
Oh, yeah. They thought I was even crazier. They didn't think it was true. And then there was a board, at work, how long I would be here. I think he'll be here, or he'll be back in 2 weeks. He'll be back in a year, something like that. It's now been 2 years and 3 months.
Oh, that's great.
So-
That's awesome. No, it's always intriguing because there's got to be a level of fear, too, right?
Oh,
'Cause
huge.
it's essentially like a big math equation of your money
Yes.
and how long you can
Yes.
make it last. And then it's like, well, if you live to 100,
Yeah.
when's that money going to run out? And
Well, I came here with 348 subscribers, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't even monetized yet. So I was taking some huge risks by selling everything,
Definitely.
coming here without a stable income. I knew I'd be living off of savings because I don't have pensions. I don't have any of that. I'm not 65, 62 and a half. I can't draw from my 401 yet. So I knew that there'd be like a 10-year window that I have to make money before I can start to take some of that money back. So
definitely.
there was a lot of fear, a lot of fear.
For sure. Because, I mean, a lot of the guys here, are retired military, whatnot. They have pensions or,
Yes.
retirement. So it's they have a fixed income, which is good. And obviously you can make that last. But that's why your story is intriguing. We met a guy last week, Video Lux, Eric, the same type of thing.
Yes.
Left corporate America, sold everything he had. And it's like, like you, he's doing YouTube and, finding other ways to make money. So you started the channel before you moved here.
Yeah, I did 2 summers of car shows thinking that my unique style would be different than everybody else, and I would be able to make money at YouTube. Like everybody thinks, you're going to make money at YouTube very fast. They don't know how much work it really takes. So all the other vloggers that I had met there, 50, 60 subscribers, here I am to these guys that had thousands, I looked up to. It wasn't going to work. It didn't work at all. I bought a car to go to these car shows. I did everything I needed to do to get myself to the next level on YouTube, and it didn't work. So I knew I had to do something different. At that same time, I started researching the Philippines and seeing the YouTubers here in Angeles City. I knew I could bring a different spice to this area, and that's it. I pulled the trigger.
Well,
again.
that's one of the things like I've seen and heard other people talk about. Obviously, people much more successful than us. It's just you bring your own authentic twist, right? And if you stick to that, it's a slow path, but
Yes.
eventually, it catches and people start following. I mean, you've got a pretty good amount of subscribers now.
Up 20,000, I'll probably hit in the next month.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah, I
we're
like
like
that.
2,500, but like when we met you, we literally I think I had 49 or 50 the day I met you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It is a slow path.
no, for sure.
There's ways around that. If I want to walk up and down Walking Street every day and film girls and make them uncomfortable and get the Koreans chasing me up and down the street, I know I could jump to 100,000 instantly. But then you get this asshole crowd following you. You get these perverts and these crazy people that the comments can drive you crazy as well. So I didn't want to do that. I did some walking up and down Walking Street at night a couple times, and it really made me uncomfortable. I didn't want to make the girls uncomfortable when I was uncomfortable. I just wasn't myself when I was doing that. So I got away from that pretty quickly when I got here.
Well, I mean that's the whole reason you retire early and move is you don't want to do stuff you don't want to do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
why do that,
Yes.
And it's probably like you said a slower play, but
Yes.
then it's working. So
Yeah.
just stick to the script and keep going.
The people, the support, the authentic relationships I've gained through networking with hotel owners, business owners, Filipinos, that's the most rewarding part of it all. Is there's some really good relationships there, and it's fun.
Well,
I love that part.
Sir Adrian, like,
Yeah.
he put us together. Like, that guy's the networking king.
He is the
I mean,
networking
he knows
king,
all these guys sitting behind us, and
Yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't for that guy, I mean, he's been one of probably the biggest success factors for us.
Yes.
In a short period of time, and
Yes.
I've known Adrian for a decade. You know, he's been sitting out there selling shirts ever since we started coming here.
I knew I wanted to meet Adrian when I saw him on some other vloggers things, because he pulls people in. He's just that authentic Filipino, works hard, salesman kind of deal. So when I got here, I searched him out, and we had that union of a year. We came here every single day for a year and made that hotspot what it was there for a while. And it was the best place to meet foreigners and everybody else who wanted to meet us, YouTubers and Adrian, just come to the hotspot.
No, for sure. Because pre-pandemic, he would be out there, and I'd always go have my coffee and just sit with him and buy shirts off him, and that was literally our relationship. And then the pandemic happened, and then we came back, and he had grown into the fact where he had this huge community of YouTubers that hung around him, and he had his own channel, and it was kind of intriguing because I never put two and two together that like Adrian was going to help our channel.
Yeah.
And then just that one day sitting there, meeting you and talking to you, and it was like, Adrian's worth his weight in gold,
Yeah.
He's technically was our first, it was before we started the official podcast where we had this whole setup. We did an interview with him on top of the Fields Hotel.
I remember that.
Like 6 months ago. So that was like my first interview on camera, and just talking to him, that was great.
He's a super positive guy, man.
Yeah.
That's like our attraction to him. He's just,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter when you talk to him, he's always just a positive
You
guy.
guys have been helping him out a lot. We've kind of separated a little bit because we have so much else going on, but I'm glad that you guys are stepped in and help Adrian out.
Yeah, I mean, he's given back more than I've given him. Trust me, just with the relationships and the people he's introduced us to. Like, I can't thank that guy enough.
Yeah.
But back to your thing, like you're talking about how you didn't want to be that guy walking down the street and making people uncomfortable and whatnot. That was kind of one of our motivating things. Was a lot of the YouTube channels here, everything was negative.
Yes.
There was the hidden camera guys, which
Yes.
I'm totally against, and then there's all these people talking about scams and Filipino girls do this and do that, and me and Glenn were talking about, and we're just like, we go there and have such a great time. Like, we need to shed the light on our positivity and how much fun we have and the way we think you should treat the local community, and then you get it back tenfold. So that's kind of the route we've always taken, and that's why we identified with you pretty quick, is you're positive in all your stuff. Like, one of your great videos is when you go meet with the mayor. Was it the mayor?
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was through a subscriber who came here and said, "Would you like to meet the mayor?" And I thought,
awesome.
well, what are you talking about? Can you pull that? Can you do that for me? And he did. He set it up one week where we went out to that property, that family property.
He seemed like a pretty dynamic dude, too.
Yeah, amazing mayor. I'm not going to go negative, but there is a lot of corruption and craziness here.
Of course.
And unfortunately, a lot of the YouTubers will use that to their advantage, disadvantage, the drama and everything that you were kind of speaking of.
Unfortunately, negativity sells, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about this in our last podcast with our last guest. Like, you put out 2 videos, like 10 things to look out for in the Philippines scam-wise, or 10 great things to do in the Philippines. Humans are risk adverse, right?
Yeah.
Ever since we were cavemen running from animals that were going to kill us, so people tend to go to the risk adverse stuff.
Yes.
So it sells. So I understand why people do it. Like you said, you can get more followers, make more money, and whatnot, but that just isn't who we are, like yourself, and this is not what we wanted to do.
Right. Try to keep it positive.
Yeah.
Find the fun things, the right people here.
Well, the thing I don't understand is, like, obviously the Philippines has its issues, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not the U.S. They're different countries. But the reason the way the Philippines is what provides people like yourself to be able to retire at 52.
Yes.
So call it a circular economy or what, but if it didn't have the issues it had and it was expensive like Honolulu where I live, we wouldn't be coming here.
Untouchable, right?
It would be somewhere you'd go for a week and spend, $10,000 and that was your year vacation. So it's like it provides that opportunity.
Yes.
So you have to take the good with the bad.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what I've never understood is everybody just wants to point out the bad. It's like, well, then go home.
Yeah.
Fucking go home.
Right.
Like,
They all blame it on the girls. All the girls are gold diggers. They're only after your money, stuff like that. Well, what about the guys? What about the guys coming here 8,000 miles to see these girls, to spend time with them for a night or something? Well, I mean, there's something. Don't blame it on the girls. Think about what the guys have a part to play in this as well.
100%. We were lucky. So the first people that brought me here were some older gentlemen that live in Honolulu that I do business with, and they gave me a lot of good advice at the start. And this old man named Albert, that's a good friend of mine, he's basically like, treat people good and they'll treat you good.
Yes.
And I mean, wow, shocking advice, right? It works everywhere. But
Yes.
just hearing it, it was like, yeah, you're right. That's what we need to do. And that's what we've always tried to do.
Yes.
And like you said, they like to blame the girls, but every relationship has value, right? Like, what value are you giving and what value are they giving? It's like,
Yeah.
they have a value for you and you have a value for them. It's a fucking trade.
Yes.
So it's like, what do you expect?
Yeah, absolutely.
And something I learned real quick with a lot of the girls, it's like, they'll be your loyal best friend. They'll be with you as much as you want, but they have to live with the fear that you can vanish.
Yeah.
So if you want to pull them out of the bar, or, save their life, or however you want to define it, that's great, and they'll accept it. But in the back of their mind, they're thinking, when does Chad just take off?
Yeah. Right.
So they have to hedge their bet, like, because
Yes.
they don't have the opportunities like an American-born girl would have in the U.S., right?
Yes.
So that's a lot of it, in my opinion. And
It is a huge part here.
once you
Absolutely.
understand that, it's like,
Yeah.
they're going to do what they have to do,
Yeah. And they'll take care of you and do whatever you need. They're the most caring, loving people. Just Filipinos in general are such happy, loyal, loving
100%.
people. Sure, they may have the money thing in their mind, but you don't have to give them money. And just friendship alone, I found, is good.
Well, any relationship, what do females want? Like safety, security,
Yes.
and
Yes.
consistency.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always just have to be about money. But there are girls that are looking for just that, and it's like, if you can recognize that, and if you're just looking for a good time, well, then what's
Yeah.
the problem?
Yeah, and I got no problem with all the foreigners who want to come here for just a good time. This is a great vacation spot.
Exactly.
I mean, if you want to womanize or drink or get away from whatever the problems are back in the States, you can definitely detach from all the issues in the United States when you come here.
For sure.
So,
And the more you take care of people, the more fun you'll have, and the better the
Yeah.
experience will be.
absolutely. You guys really make it fun for what you do. You take that group around, you bar hop, you go to Palawan, you rent that catamaran, you're cliff jumping, the videos that you put together to represent the Philippines. It's just amazing what you guys do.
We appreciate
Yeah,
it, man.
thank you.
Yeah, it's really cool.
We're trying. So what's your advice? We like to give advice to people that want to start YouTube, because we're one of those people, it's like,
Yeah.
we're not worried about how big the pie is. Like, there's enough for everybody. So
Yeah.
if anyone's motivated to start a YouTube channel, like, we're down to help them. We want to push
Yeah.
people to do it. What's your advice to people that are thinking about taking that
You
plunge?
gotta just put out videos. I mean, I heeded that advice. Just put out videos. Don't worry about the content right away. Things will kind of steer themselves once you get going. Don't worry about how you look. I remember my first videos, I was more concerned about what I look like and how I sounded, which isn't a big deal down the road.
Not at all.
Out front, you think that you are special. I mean, something changes after a while when you're doing videos. You don't look at yourself so critically. You start thinking more content-based. You got to make it interesting for the people that are watching. My advice is just start putting videos out. It doesn't matter. You're kind of have an idea of what you want to do as a niche, but that even may change. Me, car shows, here I am in the Philippines.
Yeah,
So,
don't be scared to pivot, right? And
don't
change.
You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on cameras right away. Just a GoPro or your iPhone will work. Just start jumping into social media, listening to some of the advice or the comments that people will give you. It's not that tough. I see how really successful vloggers get into their own head and they need to make better videos than they used to. And then they drop off because they're not. So, I mean, it's a tough game. Honestly, it's a tough game, but you got to start somewhere.
No, I mean, that's the best advice. Just go.
Just
do
go.
it. Just keep going. And it's like one of those things you can't lose if you don't quit.
Right.
So just keep going.
Right. I've had some really successful shorts. Efren Reyes, is the
Yeah.
huge pool player here,
Yeah.
the GOAT, the greatest of all time. and I went to one of his things and I shot some. It was at T-Backs. He had anybody can play him for 2,000 pesos, I think it was. So I put together some shorts, and one of them took off. I mean, it almost hit 2 million, views. I gained thousands of, I'm sure, Filipino followers from that and others. But that was exciting, and I thought, should I change my channel more towards pool? I didn't go that route because I don't know enough about it. But sometimes you'll get really lucky in what you produce. In fact, I have another video where I did the Venus Hotel probably 2 years ago. And the gal there who interviewed me or took me around and showed me all the rooms, I kind of interviewed her. That video still gets 25 to 30,000 views a month.
Oh, shit.
It's almost 750,000 views, I think.
Nice.
And it's like all the other hotel videos that I've done. The only addition is that this beautiful woman took me around. So I'm sure that's why it's doing good.
That sells, right? For
Yeah.
sure.
So
You've probably ran into this. It's funny, like, we'll work on a video and we'll spend a bunch of time. Glenn will spend a ton of time, and we'll think it's the best video we made, and it does shit.
Yeah.
And then we'll put another one out where it's like, it's not our best work, and it will catch fire.
Yeah,
And
well,
it's like,
Ann can attest to this. I mean, sometimes when I was putting some videos together, and some of my videos take 10 hours to edit, and I think it's a piece of art, and I think it's going to hit the numbers like whatever, and I even tear up sometimes when I put it together thinking this thing is going to be amazing, and it gets like 1,000 views over 6 months, so it tanks. But yeah, it's...
But you just got to keep going.
You
right?
got-
Just
yes.
keep pushing.
And like you said, the ones that you don't think are going to do well. And I think it's more that you're more honest or something. Something's different there. You're talking more from the heart, and people really
Authenticity.
like that.
Authenticity is what sells on YouTube, in my opinion.
And it's simple, too.
Yeah, just
you
the
got
more
to just
authentic
talk from
you
your
are.
heart.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And the short game, the short format video, obviously has changed everything content-wise.
Yes.
And the cool thing about it, like I told, it's not necessarily anymore about followers. It's all about engagement and views, and that's the currency, right? And
Yes.
with the short form shit, like, you're one piece of content away from 2 million, like you said,
Yes.
that pool one. Like,
Yeah.
when you made that, I'm sure you weren't thinking this is going to get 2 million.
No,
views.
absolutely not. No. But there's no real money in that yet. Unless,
No.
I've seen the vloggers here, IRL Media, I think it is.
Yeah.
Only does like the short form and has millions of views, with all the short form. But the original videos or the long form videos, not as many views. So I don't know how that money breaks even
Have you
there.
ever seen the guy who runs that channel?
Do you know him?
the guy that runs
No,
that channel?
I don't.
Yeah, we always talk about like it's like some secret guy that walks around the streets and stuff.
Yeah, does very well.
Yeah, he
Puts a
does
lot
really
of
well.
foreigners out there, so I don't know. That's probably why he's hiding, or her, or whoever it is. But
Well, it's definitely hidden camera. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
probably on a local kid walking around because people
nobody's
have no idea.
covering faces
Yeah.
and nothing. Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean that channel was, I think, 30,000 subscribers when I got here, when I first seen that channel, and then it changed to more short form. And now I don't know how many, 100,000, few hundred
Yeah, no,
thousand.
they do great. I mean,
Yeah.
everything they put out gets a
No-
ton of views.
Not to rip on them, they're doing great.
I
They
know,
found what they need to do.
For sure. No, they found their niche for sure.
Yeah, it's a crazy game we play.
Definitely.
The algorithm is a tough one to figure out. I like to professionalize in everything I do, and I'm having trouble figuring out a consistent algorithm way to get the views.
Podcast unless we have something fall down or a light go out, but no big deal.
Good.
So when you go through your process, like the one thing, Glenn's brother-in-law brought something up to us when we started the podcast. We noticed, like, when it comes to podcasting, a lot of people quit.
Yeah.
And I heard a statistic that just rings in my head. By the way, this is our 8th podcast, right? This is number 8.
Okay.
So I heard a
Number 8.
statistic that if you make 21 podcasts,
Yep.
you're in the 1%
Okay.
of podcasters in the world, because nobody makes it that far.
Yes.
So that's motivated me. Like, there's nothing that's going to stop me till I hit that 21. 'Cause I want to be in that 1%.
Yes.
So something Glenn's brother-in-law said to us when we started, and we were telling him about that stat. He's like, I bet people just run out of people to talk to or ideas, right?
Yeah.
And that just struck a chord with me, because I was like, shit, like, that's a great point. Like, you got to always be on the move looking for stuff to
Yes.
talk about or do. So what's your process when it comes to what you're going to go film or what video you're going to create, because you do all kinds of stuff. So it's always motivating. Oh, what's Chubs up to now? You know, so how do you go through that process of, all right, today I'm going to go make the pool video, or today I'm going to do a hotel?
Well,
review?
listening to the comments, Ann and I would come down to the hot spot with Adrian for that year, and then we'd meander up and down Walking Street, and we did that. My mother even got crazy about it. Like, you got to get away from Walking Street a little bit. There's so much other stuff going on. So then we found a hotel or two, and we thought that seemed to work. And then we met some people, brought some Filipinos. I wanted to have that Filipino flavor, like Adrian. So we started meeting the other ones, like Fidel and Agnes, Danny, who used to be here on Walking Street. Started talking to them, and that was just so natural. You know, they're always willing to talk. Give you their time of day. They're so nice. You will struggle sometimes in thinking about content. I got to get something. What can I do? Whatever. I found that the best way is just take a walk and open a door and see what the restaurant looks like, or see what a hotel, if they'll allow you to show a room. That's always worked. If I'm struggling with thinking about content or what I'm going to cover next, take that walk, open a door, talk to some people. It'll come together. It's something, you'll find something. You'll find content in that. Just that human interaction with other people.
Oh, that's great advice. That's definitely great. And the video you did on this hotel was cool, because we're obviously good friends with Amy, and we always stayed across the street with her. And the guys that brought us here for the first time, they've known Amy for years. So the guys that own the Dollhouse group are from Hawaii, and they're connected with the guys I know. And so that when they brought us over here, Amy's worked for them for I think 20 years. Okay. So when we found the Fields Hotel, it was actually during the pandemic when we couldn't come. We would get on Google Earth and just, walk the street for fun instead of being here. And I had noted our friend Mikey, who's here with us now, one of those older guys, he had mentioned that used to be called the Dollhouse Hotel. And he mentioned that there was a rooftop pool. So I found it on Google Earth, and then I got the idea. I'm like, how many rooms can even be in that place? It's pretty small. So I emailed, and Amy responded and said there were 6 rooms. So I came up with a plan. I was like, let's rent the whole hotel. And then we have our own private pool on the roof. Right. Best idea ever. So we stayed there forever the last couple of years, every time we come. And then Amy obviously moved over here. And she had showed us, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, she walked us over here, and they were still doing the construction. Anyways, make a long story short, your video was great because we'd already booked to come stay here, but we had no idea what it looked like. And then Chubs to the rescue sends out a video showing the rooms, and we watched your video, and I'm like, okay, room 301's mine. Room 302 is yours.
That's what I like too, is that people find my vlogs very informative. The hotel ones especially. And I found that before I came here. Where am I going to stay? What am I going to do? Everybody said just go to a hotel, but they didn't show the inside of the hotel. If you look at pictures online, if you can even find it online, of course they're going to make it look beautiful, but it's crap. So just a walkthrough. I don't do reviews. I just do the feet on the ground, show you what you're actually going to be renting, like you're saying. So you get to see, I want room 103. And that worked out great.
No, it was a great video, and we watched it a couple times, and then I sent it to all my friends that were coming with us. Here's what the new hotel looks like. No, I like that twist on it, how you're not doing like a review, and you're not sitting there like filming the kettle. Like, look, they have a kettle in the room. Some of the people get pretty tedious on their hotel reviews. Yes. Just the walkthrough is enough.
Yeah. Water pressure we'll check, and jump on the bed and see if it's comfortable. Something like that is about as far as we're gonna go. I'm not gonna rip a hotel apart for having old tile in their bathrooms, or their beds are this thick. You'll see it. You can make your decision. I could sleep on a board if I had to. Right. I tried a $8 a night hotel when I got here, and that was scary. There was cockroaches running around. If you want to go real cheap, you can find cheap. But middle of the road, something like this is wonderful. It's not going to break your budget, and it's new. New is always nice.
So we'll plug it. We are here at the Hotel Carousel. I think it's 2,500 pesos a night for a room.
Yes.
I don't know what that can.
They really did a marvelous job. I remember
$60
sneaking up here and seeing how crappy this was up here, and thinking they're going to make a hotel of that. Well, it's amazing what they did here at this Carousel Hotel, what they've transformed this into. These are very comfortable, modern rooms, smell great. You got a couple balconies over Walking Street if you want to rent those rooms. They really did a good job.
No, they did. And the TV's got Netflix and all the smart TVs,
The
which is
ACs
cool.
are amazing.
AC is
Yeah.
cold, so
Yeah.
no, it's a great place. Another video you did I liked was the Poppy's restaurant. Like,
Yeah.
I went after seeing your video. The next trip I came, I went over there, ate some food. It's a cool little spot. So
It's good American. It's got all kinds of different nationalities food there, but it's one of the best American food places
I
around.
totally agree.
The chili cheese dogs here on Walking Street are amazing. The tacos.
I'm all about the street tacos.
Just the street food is great. Ann loves the sisig. When we have subscribers reach out and say they would like us to meet up, take us out for a meal, that's one of our favorites.
No,
They got
I
great
love
food.
the Mexican food here. So I'm born and raised in California. I've lived in Hawaii the last 15 years. I love Hawaii. It's home, but there's no good Mexican food.
Yeah.
So the only time I get Mexican food is when I actually come to the Philippines, like Tequila
Yeah.
Reef, Poppy's, even the little cafe downstairs. I had their tacos last night, so
Yeah.
recommend that for sure.
That was another thing, meeting people and finding out that they own these restaurants, like Dez's Little Amigo Mexican over there on Teodoro Street. I'm sure you've been
I
there.
have not. I'm going to check it out now,
you gotta
though.
check that out. He was in California as well, brought his own menu, great little graffiti art inside and outside of that place. And that's how I got to know Dez. And now Dez is one of, Ann's bosses. So it's, again, networking, just walking them.
Well, that's one of our mission. One of our mission statements is just creating community, right?
Yes.
And that's a big part of YouTube. Like, obviously, we became friends with you, and we've got a new YouTuber that we're going to podcast with next. She's sitting over there.
Yes, Faith.
Welcome, Faith.
Hello, Faith.
So no, it's about creating the community of people, and you see the way we roll. It's like we have a team of people that
Yes.
we had our single at 40 team and our single at 40 angels. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you need to support anybody that's doing similar. There's been others that relied on drama, created drama, and they're gone now. There's no place for that. There's no need for that.
I totally agree.
So support you guys, support Faith, and anybody who wants to try a YouTube channel, reach out. They ask a few questions to anybody, not just myself, to anybody who's done it, and you'll get some good advice.
Adventures of Ann, check that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody watching, like, that's Chubs' significant other. They vlog together. You guys do your own thing. You sometimes do it
Yeah.
together, which is great.
She was my sidekick.
Yeah.
And we all started here.
Yeah.
Adrian brought us together.
Wow.
So
Really?
Yeah. Back in the day.
Adrian, man.
Adrian again.
Well, we're sitting at Carousel with them last night, and Faith and her dad walk in, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, we're lining her up for our next guest.
Yeah.
So.
That'll be
Adrian's
a good
like
interview.
he books my interviews.
Yeah.
Like, you guys book more interviews
Right,
for me
right.
than anybody.
Yes, absolutely.
No, awesome, man.
Cool. You guys are doing a good job. Let me just say again, I
Hey,
really
we appreciate you. We appreciate your channel. Obviously, doing this with us is awesome. And like I said, you gave us that shout out when we had 50 freaking subs, and forever. We'll be grateful for that. So great to sit down and talk with you, man. And
You too.
we look forward to doing it again when we come back. Anytime we're here, we'll sit down and chat with you, see what's up, see what's new with you. So
Really appreciate the time and and what you guys are doing for everybody else.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
This is the podcasts. That's the new big thing that's everybody's doing, and you're the ones that are grasping it now.
I don't know if you remember when I first met you that day. I told you that was my goal, was to
Yeah.
start a podcast.
Yeah.
Freaking took us a year to do it.
And
but,
here we are. I don't know what camera I'm supposed to look at, but
it's
here
back
we
to
are.
it's back to your advice that you're giving YouTubers that are starting is like, just do it. Like,
Just do
me
it.
and Glenn talked about it for a fucking year,
Yep.
and we just didn't do it. We didn't do it, and then one day we're just like, all right, we're just gonna sit down and
Yeah.
do it. And we're eight in now, so
Yeah.
and they keep getting better. We keep getting cooler guests, so
Yeah. Don't worry about the money. Just start producing stuff. Get it out there. It'll come around. Everybody will realize that. So many get frustrated and drop out. Just stick to it. Stick to it a little bit longer.
if you don't quit, you can't lose.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
Right.
it.
Cool.
All right, Chad, we appreciate
Thank
it, man.
you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you.
Everybody else. See you.